Crispy Flakes is probably losing his mind at this point because the Detroit Pistons actually put together a really good trade offer for the Philadelphia 76ers. The problem is, unless if you are including Michael Jordan or LeBron James in your trade offer for Ben Simmons, then chances are that Daryl Morey will not accept it. Now, before we get to the content, just a reminder, we just gave away $500 to an Instagram follower. We're running that exact same giveaway back. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram to enter. We're doing the same giveaway for a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, there's been a lot of strange news in the NBA recently. I feel like I've opened my last 3 videos by saying that. But the reason I'm saying that is it looks like Ben Simmons was on the cusp of being traded by the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, if you aren't up to date, if you remember in my James Harden video where James Harden reportedly was open to relocation, which even myself is kind of skeptical about that report despite it coming from Mark Stein, I said that Daryl Morey is rumored to be willing to hold on to Ben Simmons past the trade deadline to potentially trade him in the offseason in some complicated sign and trade for James Harden. Now, I don't know if this is just James Harden and Daryl Morey flirting with each other because James Harden has a team option. He didn't sign a contract extension early on in October because no star player that is a pending free agent typically signs a contract extension because we all know they decline their player option in the offseason. They could sign for significantly more money. So that's the reason why no star player signs a contract extension in the earlier part of the season. Now, part of me is wondering whether or not the NBA did this on purpose just so we could have trade speculation and whatnot throughout the season, but honestly, I don't see James Harden leaving the Brooklyn Nets. Now, why does this matter? Because I feel like at this point, after the potential trade that is being made for Ben Simmons in this situation, a player that hasn't even stepped onto the court for the Philadelphia 76ers thus far, it seems like the Sixers might hold on to Ben Simmons past the trade deadline. On February 10th, 2022, this is definitely one of the more exciting trade deadlines we've had in recent memory. Miles Turner and Karis LeVert are players that are on the trade block that most teams are seeking after, in addition to Ben Simmons and, of course, Jeremy Grant, a player who wasn't necessarily a top-tier player 3 years ago, but went to the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons pumped up his value the same way they pumped up Christian Wood's value, by the way, and then they are prepared to trade him because Jeremy Grant is 27 years old and in the prime of his career, and they're more focused on developing the likes of Cade Cunningham and Sadiq Bey. It makes complete sense, man. Jeremy Grant is a very versatile player, and he could literally fit on any contending team. And it seems like the Detroit Pistons are kind of in a similar situation with Jeremy Grant as the Philadelphia 76ers are with Ben Simmons, only Jeremy Grant is willing to play, which is boosting up his trade value, mind you, whereas Ben Simmons is sitting on his buying $2 million cars, multiple houses, getting mortgages on all of them, and according to my buddy Spencer Cornelia, which made a remarkable video on this last night, if Ben Simmons continues on the path that he's in without playing basketball games, he is going to be completely sapped dry of money within the next 5 years. Now, I know that doesn't sound so bad, but still, I'm not a big fan of reckless spending, to be honest. I just am not. Now, the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because this is a very interesting rumor coming to us from none other than Bleacher Report. I can't find a more defined source, but I don't see this as a rumor that isn't believable because I could see this trade offer being made, especially considering that Ben Simmons is probably never going to play for the Philadelphia 76ers again, because according to Charles Barkley, Ben Simmons is never going to play in Philly again because the fans will never forgive him. I know those fans well. I thought my name was Charles Barkley, son of a for a long time when I was there. Now, you might be wondering what the trade offer was. Well, according to my friend at Legion Hoops, here's the exact breakdown of the trade. The Pistons made a trade offer of Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, and a first-round pick to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons. The 76ers were not excited about that offer. Now, the common response on Twitter to all of this is, unless if you have Michael Jordan or LeBron James, you're not going to be able to trade for Ben Simmons, or of course, James Harden. But if you look at at this trade, just to break this down for you guys, I understand that from an asset point of view, everyone's saying,
yo, why the hell didn't the 76ers take this?
And I can explain to you why they weren't excited about this offer. I don't know what the protection on the first round pick would be, but if it's unprotected or top 5 protected, then that's a pretty damn valuable pick. But on top of that, think about what's being offered to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons. You're getting Jeremy Grant, Saddiq Bey, which very promising, Kelly Olynyk, and a first round pick. Jeremy Grant is a tremendous power forward, and there's no denying that. He has been extremely productive this year. Kelly Olynyk, yet another power forward and or center. And then you have Saddiq Bey, who technically is a small forward, which, to be honest, I think is a tremendous player for the Philadelphia 76ers to acquire, because at the very least, you're gonna have players that could at least space the floor out. And in that sense, I could understand why Philadelphia 76ers fans want this trade to go down. But on the flip side, you have to think about the rest of the Philadelphia 76ers roster. You have Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Andre Drummond, and then you want to add Jeremy Grant, Saddiq Bey, and Kelly Olynyk to that mix. It's going to be impossible to get Joel Embiid, Jeremy Grant, Tobias Harris, and Saddiq Bey all in one lineup together. Now, Saddiq Bey could come off the bench, but I feel like this trade makes the Philadelphia 76ers a little bit too big. I could also understand that Daryl Morey wants to hold on to as many assets as humanly possible, just so he could potentially swing for that James Harden trade. I will never understand this man's obsession with James Harden. I just won't. Now, on the flip side, you have the Detroit Pistons. Would Ben Simmons make sense on the Detroit Pistons? Does he fit the same developmental timeline as Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes? And, well, assuming that this trade gets made, I feel like those are the only main players that the Detroit Pistons are really trying to develop at this point. Looking at their roster, pretty much this entire team is Cade Cunningham, Saddiq Bey, Killian Hayes, and a bunch of players that they're taking swings on in terms of developing that didn't necessarily pan out on other teams, like Hamidou Diallo. Would Ben Simmons and Cade Cunningham, two players that technically play the point guard position, make sense playing alongside with each other? Ben Simmons is just 2 years younger than Jeremy Grant, so I don't think it makes sense for Ben Simmons to share the court with Cade Cunningham, especially if you want Cade Cunningham to develop as a primary ball handler. I think it'd be very interesting if you put Ben Simmons at the power forward position and you put Cade Cunningham at the point guard position. But here's what my theory is at this point. I don't think the Pistons would want Ben Simmons just because they feel like Ben Simmons would help them get into the playoffs. I think they want Ben Simmons so they could do with him what they've been doing with a lot of these other role players, which is trade for them, build up their value, and then flip them for picks, which is exactly what the OKC Thunder have been doing as well, by the way, and they've been extremely successful at doing that. I don't see Ben Simmons as being a schematic fit for this team at all whatsoever. It just doesn't make sense for either team to accept this trade, except for this one reason I'm giving you. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about the fact that the Sixers rejected this trade? Personally, I'm not really that surprised. A lot of Sixers fans just want Ben Simmons gone and they want some value in return for him, but the trade has to make sense, especially when you're dealing with an analytics guru like Daryl Morey. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.